G again guys, today is the first part of our video series of diving into the Eigenlayer ecosystem, Eigen sessions. Today we are going to be talking about what's an AVS and what's an AVS architecture from the perspective of a user as well as the perspective of an AVS creator. In the next video series, we are also going to be talking about how can we create an AVS very easily using the authentic stack, which is basically a easy to use CLI tool to create your own AVS. In this video particularly, we are going to be discussing about what makes up an AVS, how you as a creator can go on about creating operators or attestation services, interacting with contracts, deploying contracts, and how in a theoretical sense it all happens. I'm also going to be giving you an example of what an operator service can look like. So let's dive in. So first of all, we are going to understand the entire workflow of an AVS. First of all, there's a user of the AVS, which is currently the creator. He is going to create contracts which defines the logic of the slashing conditions, the reward conditions, and what are the tasks that the operators have to execute, and what are the input parameters. So these contracts needs to be deployed on the particular chain, right? So first user creates contracts, then it defines the rules of those contracts, which can be what type of submissions, what type of logic, and what type of rewards and slashing conditions are to be in that particular contract. And then so after defining the logic, we are going to deploy those with the already existing Eigenlayer contracts, which are service manager contracts and delegation manager contracts and the reward coordinator and the multiple core contracts which are already existing in the Eigenlayer, which are going to integrate it in the deployed contracts. So after defining the entire logic layer, we are going to now operators are those which are going to do on-chain tasks, which are going to do off-chain tasks, and are going to submit the proofs of those on-chain to the contracts which we have deployed. You can see this is a particular operator which is going to fetch prices from Binance's API, and as the result, and as you can see, I'm going to get the pair prices through this. So if I'm going to execute an action, so what this operator is going to do is it's going to fetch those prices from those Binance. So it's as simple as that. This is particularly an operator. Now for good behaviors, these operators will be rewarded. That's one of the core purposes of Eigenlayer. Now these operators, when these operators are getting some answers or some proofs of those tasks, then these operators are going to submit those proofs to the contracts which are on chain for verification. Now after getting the verification on chain, the consumer is getting the final answer. Now let's see from the consumer's perspective how this is going to be. The consumer can submit two types of request data, either to the AVS smart contracts or to the operators directly. So since the operators are also based upon a set of smart contracts or we can say on-chain services, there's no issue there. So the consumers can request data from both AVS smart contracts or off-chain operator, which is backed by Eigenlayer securities. So in this video, we learned what are operators, how does an operator look like, and how it's connected to an AVS, how are contracts deployed, and how are those contracts connected to Eigenlayer's base contracts, and how does a consumer request data and then it's performed in the AVS. In the next lecture, we are going to be learning about what's an AVS architecture and it's more on its relation with Eigenlayer. We are also going to be thinking on ideas that you can build on AVS and a few services using which you can create easy AVSs like authentic stack, and how can you create your own custom AVS. Thank you. Let's meet in the part 2.